Greetings, O'Neill. I'm not hearing you. No, I'm not hearing you. You're hearing me?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Fredalyn. I'm one of the panelists.
Hi, Fredalyn. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Are you hearing O'Neill?
You know, I was on mute. That's my fault. Hi, Freddie. Oh, goodness. That is hilarious.
Greetings, Sir O'Neill.
Greetings. How are you? How are things in Jamaica?
It's very hot. It's very hot.
Oh, it's hot here too in Florida.
Well, I'm giving thanks that I'm alive to feel the heat.
I know that's right. Yeah, these are strange and crazy times that we're in.
I'm telling you.
O'Neill.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm good. Hold on a second.
Sure, no problem.
Is this Yvonne from Connecticut?
Well, Yvonne lives in Orlando.
Met her.
Yeah, you probably met her when you were in Orlando. There's a possibility that that happened.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Is that JD?
La Roche.
Hey, good evening. How's everyone?
Hi there. How are you? Is that JD?
That was me, Reggie.
Oh, hey, Reggie. How are you?
Good.
All right. Let's
Good.
see. All right. We've got 2
O'Neill,
minutes.
I'm back.
Okay. Hi.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay.
Looking good.
Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm going to put myself on mute.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Yvonne. All right, let's see. I think we have everyone. I don't see Nikisha yet. She probably will be joining shortly. We have about a minute. How's everyone doing?
So far, so good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad it's
Doing
Friday.
Yes.
All right.
Can everyone hear me clearly?
I can hear you, JD. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Okay. Thank you so much. I was trying to find a good spot where the signal was good, and I think I'm solid.
Yes, can hear you perfectly and see you well, so you're good.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's see here. So I think of all our panelists, we're just waiting on Nikisha, and then we should be ready to rock and roll. And I appreciate you all being here, of course. You know, we threw this together on very short notice. JD got the outreach. I think he was the last of the panelists to get invited, and I was very excited to have him accept, obviously, because I think the topic of mental health is actually quite near and dear to my heart. And, you know, after watching, you know, the film, What Happened Miss Simone, it really got me thinking about all of the times where I've encountered folks who I guess were not, you know, dealing with, you know, external and internal factors well. And so it really got me thinking about, you know, mental health, especially in our community, because, you know, there are added stressors, I think, that we have to deal with, historical trauma from slavery and other things. So I think right now it's very timely for us to really take a look at, you know, the issue of mental health, particularly in the Black community, because I feel that, you know, conversations, they're not happening as openly and maybe as frequently as they should be, if that makes sense. So we'll get into that. All right, so it's 1 minute past 7. I did see, it looked like Nikisha had just joined. She may be getting herself set up there. And so as soon as we have everyone ready to go, we'll just jump right in, okay?
Hi, everyone. This is Nikisha.
Hi,
I'm ready to
Nikisha.
go.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. So welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have you all here. Thank you for joining this panel discussion and examination of the film, What Happened Miss Simone, especially as it relates to mental health in the Black community. So I'm O'Neill Williams. I'll be your moderator for this session. We want to welcome, all of our guests that are listening in as, the panelists kind of discuss this particular issue. A couple of housekeeping items. I should start off by saying that, I am not a mental health professional. We're really just having a discussion surrounding mental health because I think it's one of the things that we should be doing, at least having that discussion. And, if people, definitely need treatment, they should be able to access that treatment. And, there are ways to even access that treatment now in light of all of the stressors that we're facing. So let me start off first by having the panel just do a brief introduction of themselves. Guys, if you can keep it to about 30 seconds or so, but just introduce yourselves to the audience. And we'll start first with, let's go ahead and start with Fredlyn.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fredlyn. I am an educator by trade, but I also have my own podcast called the Focus Pop Podcast. I've interviewed celebrities. It focuses on celebrity interviews, mental and women's health, just as what we're discussing today. Featured interview has been with Tiffany Haddish, DJ Envy, DJ Khaled, and I'm pro-Black, so I'm all for this. I'm excited to talk about Nina Simone and mental health.
Excellent. Thank you, Freddie. All right, so why don't we move over to Fabian?
Greetings and salutations from Kingston, Jamaica. My name is Fabian Thomas. I am an adjunct lecturer, trainer facilitator, life coach, and performing arts specialist. I have a performing arts collective called Tribes and Kofa. I am really, really excited about being here and this conversation and looking forward to good things and linkages and connections. Blessings, love, and light to everybody.
Yes, thank you, Fabian. Appreciate that so much. All right, why don't we go next to Nikisha?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nikisha. I'm based out of Manhattan, New York. I'm a public speaker, policy consultant, and startup entrepreneur. I'm excited that we're finally getting together as a collective to talk about mental health and the broader impact on the African American and just broader Black community. And I hope we are able to, over the long term, be able to strategize around how we as a group can mobilize as much resources as possible to the Black community so we can begin to address some of the far-reaching impact of this issue on a whole.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nikisha. And last, but by no means least, JD.
Peace and good evening, everyone. JD Weatherspoon. I am a human connector and an identity creator. I am I guess you could say, entrepreneur by trade. I am part of a membership organization called Mastermind Connect, where I sort of came with some really amazing people, and we put our heads together because we realized that we needed to change the narrative, and I help other people to do the same.
Excellent. Thank you, JD. Appreciate that. All right, panelists. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I guess, one of the first things I wanted to get from you is basically your assessment of the film as it relates to mental health. What things stood out to you after watching the film? And if there are any parallels to what you see happening today, what would you say those are? Let's see, Freddie, do you want to go first?
Sure. One of the things that I felt like is a connect is that internal battle that she dealt with, as far as like she felt alone, or she always had to, not only that she felt alone, she had to, in a way, think about her family. So it's just like that pressure that people of color have to deal with trying to provide for their family and the family sacrificing for them. So it felt like an in debt that she had, and that her original goal, she had a goal that she wanted to do, and she wasn't able to achieve it because of societal standards. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much that impacts people. Like, people want to put, no, you know, we have so many resources. We're post-racial. But when you think about it, Nina Simone's case was only 30 through like 50 years ago. And we're still feeling those effects today. So I feel like that's the parallel. The structure might be more in your face back then, but it's so covert now that people want to say it never existed or we're past it.
Exactly. Good assessment. Fabian, what about you?
I was completely blown away because I am a huge fan and admirer of the force of nature that was Nina Simone.
Yes.
I had no idea that she was battling and struggling all this stuff while creating this singularly brilliant, mesmerizing art.
Yep.
It is a miracle.
Yeah.
But it's a painful miracle.
Yes.
And then, you know, I watched some of her interviews. I know she had issues. I know she had mental, but I didn't know the depth of it, including, you know, physical abuse from the husband. Just so much. And this the internal struggle of I'm too black to go to a good musical school and I'm not supposed to be talented enough to play the piano, and I'm not supposed to, you know, just being shut out of so many things.
Yeah.
And there's several of her interviews, she was also so real, and the realness you feel like just rushed up to the surface like a surge. She couldn't help it.
Yeah.
So she mystified and frightened people, and even concerts.
Right.
You know, she would say the rawest and realest things, and it's funny how that becomes someone who's crazy to us.
Right.
Somebody who's digging down in their gut and bringing authentic truth, we label as crazy.
Right.
Or somebody who's showing the innards of their pain, and we kind of go, she's crazy, he's crazy. And for me, that's the parallel.
Yep.
And so, you know, we're having a conversation in Jamaica. People are saying, oh, you know, we don't have it that bad. Lies and garbage. The difference in Jamaica is that the policemen who are killing black boys in Jamaica are black.
Right.
That's the difference.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Say again?
I agree.
Thank you for bringing that up.
They're black. They look like us. Quickly.
We got here quick. Wow.
Yeah, they look like us, and then we just and you know it's you know, I want to pause and just acknowledge George Floyd's family and his spirit and his life, and the ancestors who are taking care of him now, because he's changing the world.
Yeah.
That knee on his neck has sparked a fire, and it has sparked mental health issues. If you watch people just breaking down online on social media, bawling, and it's not, they're not crying for George per se, they're crying for that teacher who told them you're not bright enough when they were 5.
Right.
And so that's what some people don't understand. They say, what's the big deal? That people's pain is so real, and the wounds and the scars that people are carrying. So we just had a thing in Jamaica, the insignia that our Governor General wears, and I don't know why we have one, because of the Queen. We've been independent since 1962.
Yep.
It's a white angel with his foot on the neck of a black demon.
Yeah.
That's the insignia that the Governor General of Jamaica wears. So we've just said, what? So he has now gotten permission not to wear it. So it's all around us.
Yes.
As Fredlin said, you know, Miss Nina was alive a long time ago. The situations are still so real and very real.
Yep.
And so that struck me, that she was able to gift us with what she did.
Right.
But also some of her music now made sense to me.
Yeah.
She recorded stuff that was not pretty.
Yes.
And it was not polite.
Right.
The first time I heard Nemekita Pass, I don't speak French. I wept uncontrollably because the pain was so real. And then recently, our present day goddess Lettucey covered it and did the same thing. It slammed me in my chest, and I thought, here's another black woman channeling this song that a white French man sang. But it's a black woman's truth. Yeah. And for me, mental health is tied up in all of that. So I just bless and honor Miss Nina, and hope she found pockets of joy and healing in her life before she left us. And we have to celebrate her legacy, call her name, and tell her story as often as we can.
Absolutely.
O'Neill, as one of probably the only people here in the group who actually had the opportunity to attend a Nina Simone concert.
Oh, okay.
It was her first time back in New York. As a matter of fact, my niece won the ticket. Tanya,
Uh-huh.
She couldn't make it. So she gave us the ticket. And I was probably about 25, but it was way over my head. I
Wow.
couldn't understand at
Right.
that time. I really wanted to see her because she had that song, Cinnamon. I don't know if you guys know that song, but they made it into a house music song. And we went, and it was a 5-piece quartet. And my friend, Tanya's best friend, and I went. The two of us went. There's Beacon Theater, Manhattan. And we're like blown away. But still, at that time, I personally didn't
Get it.
understand
Yeah.
my presence in that audience. It was just like,
Right.
I was, first of all, blown away because it was her first time back in the United States. Everybody knew that she was a civil rights activist, but I still didn't get it. I didn't get it until I watched the movie 3
Then
years ago.
you understood. Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting.
The space that I was in.
Yeah.
It was blown away.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. JD, what were your thoughts?
Whew, so many. Well, she's a force of nature, truly.
Yes.
And to have dealt with so many things at once. Number one, she's a woman. Number two, she's Black, and you can either compute that as being a woman twice or Black twice. Point is, it was hard.
Right.
Them were some rough times. And ironically enough, a lot of that pain is what fueled the brilliance. And that's a very harsh truth. Which is not to say that she needed that pain. But I think she was such a brilliant spirit that she was able to transmute. She would have transmuted anything, but what she transmuted her life experience into is truly timeless. It makes you understand how something can be inspiring. It can be gut-wrenching, and it can also just be musically sound. And everybody agreed with that for like 40 years.
Yep. Yeah.
Because she's that good.
Absolutely.
As a parent, like listening to the stories of her children remind me of how much intergenerational trauma
Yes.
is inherited. Like, it's like you come with debt already. Like, where did this come from?
Right.
And as someone who's doing the work right now, I can definitely speak to the amount of weight that we carry that is very much sins of the father or pains of the grandmother.
Yes.
And until we really get down into the nitty gritty of really finding out who we are as a diaspora, which starts with people realizing who they are as sovereign beings. It doesn't matter how many unemployment programs we drop. It doesn't matter how much we hashtag and burn sage or shout Jesus or speak in tongues.
Right.
Until we really get to the work of addressing that trauma, it's going to keep happening.
Yep.
And no matter how good the music is, it's not going to change the trauma.
Absolutely. Agreed. Nikisha, your thoughts?
I remember sharing with you that I wasn't going to immediately watch the documentary because I thought it was going to be triggering for me.
Okay.
So I set it aside for 2 days to mentally prepare for what I thought was some kind of like Tyler Perry-esque like, woe is the Black woman kind of narrative. And I went through the entire documentary without being triggered.
Yeah.
Because for me, it reflected what is a normative experience for so many people that I know, for myself. So many people I know, so many people my grandparents would have told me about.
Right.
Especially when it came to the matter of choice. You grow up knowing that choice is a luxury because your day-to-day decisions really are predicated off what's going to take you through today and on to the next day from a point of view of survival.
Right.
And it's so seeing her lamenting not being able to exercise choice when it came to pursuit of her passion for classical music to the highest degree, being the first Black classical pianist.
Yep.
Which for me, I was lamenting that for her too, because I was like, I wish
She
she
was
were.
not the first Black classical pianist.
Oh, well, she had aspirations of
To
being.
be,
I mean,
right.
American. I mean, Beethoven was part Black.
I was going to say Beethoven.
Yeah.
That's a recent discovery for a lot of folks.
No,
Yeah,
but
so-
yeah, Nikisha was saying that was her aspiration to be. But yeah, besides the point. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Nikisha, go ahead.
And so you saw where she didn't even get to enjoy that experience of coming into her own womanhood as a teenager and an income earning young woman, because she no longer could afford college and had to go work when she could have gotten 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
And so that's where the emotional neglect I see. I mean, her early experiences of growing up and being isolated on account of having to pay so much attention to her study.
Right.
That, created that unraveling mentally. But I feel like during that period of knowing that you have to be hustling so hard, and that then results in you not being able to get adequate sleep and attend to yourself physically and mentally and care for yourself, that resonated a lot with me. And I see that a lot in my parents' experience. My father has always worked 7 days per week. I don't think he knows what self-care is. Likewise, my mother, it's the same.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like that's one of those issues. You and I, we talk about Napa's resistance to normalize self-care in the Black community.
Yes.
We need to make people feel okay about taking vacations on a yearly basis or quarterly basis, but it is necessary.
Yeah.
You need to get adequate sleep. Another thing that resonated with me was the whole issue of intimate partner violence and just how traumatizing that can be for anyone. And for her, you can see how that further compounded her mental health issues. There was a third theme that jumped out at me.
Can't recall it right now. Okay,
but,
no problem.
But yeah, those were the two strongest themes that I was able to like.
No, those are excellent points. I love those. JD, I think you just mentioned a topic. Do you want to expand on that a little bit more?
Masochism masters industry.
What do you mean by that?
So masochism is a condition in which you derive pleasure from discomfort. Obviously, it's usually applied to like something that applies to kink or like sex, but it really exists at a far more fundamental level where because of like that interesting relation of self-worth to caring for and or pleasing and or representing something for other people.
Right.
It's really just an imbalance of like external fixation. And you diminish yourself a lot. And as a result of that, you feel as though the only thing you can do or the only thing that you have to offer that is of worth is your essence, your energy, your time. My father is, I come from a long line of people, but more specifically men who are like that. And one of the major details that I realized is that industry that's given me, or what I used to achieve certain accolades in my life, left me in a complete deficit in another area. But that's only because I was never really taught to pay attention to it. Right. And I think that's another detail I agree with Nikisha of how I connected to Nina, because you're taught that your self-worth is in your ability to do or give or provide the thing.
Yeah.
But there's a giving of self that needs to be provided. And so you don't know to, I think, keep some water in your cup.
Right.
And not pour it all out for others. And until we really address that tendency and a few others. We can get into about like 10 if we really wanted to, but start somewhere. And I think that's a great place to start, because until you get the rest, you can't even process anything else properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, one of the things that struck me about the film is just how many slights she had to suffer. You know, so kind of going back to, you know, the Jim Crow era, you know, racism, right? Having that kind of as a backdrop for everything that was going on. I remember when she talked about her parents, you know, doing that recital when she was like really young, and they moved the parents to the back of the room, and she was like, yeah, I'm not going to play until they're brought back to the forefront. And I'm going, my God, you know, here is this child who is seeing racism rear its head in prime form at such a tender age and going, no, that's not right. And, you know, all of these, I take them as like little cuts against the skin, right? That you process, and it chips away and chips away and chips away at you. When I started watching the film, that was the first thing. And it was like every time she got one of those cuts, I felt it with her, because I think this is how the unraveling begins, in Nikisha's word, right? Exactly, JD, death by 1,000 cuts, right? You know, so from there, you know, the rejection from Curtis, that was like a major blow. And I remember in the film, she, you know, saying it took her like 6 months to really comprehend that the rejection wasn't because she wasn't good enough, it was because she was Black. And that was a devastating blow, especially because her parents, everyone had sacrificed so much to get her to that place where she could even have auditioned to get into Curtis, right? You know, so you have that, you know, a major blow. And then on top of that, you don't get in, but now you have to do something totally off track just to survive, you know? So it's just the indignity, the slights, you know, the gut punches, because you know, Curtis wasn't even a slight. That was major for her. And, you know, even though they did give her, you know, honorary degree, you know, yeah, okay, you know, now she's dead. I mean, yes, it means something, I guess, in terms of history, but, you know, she should have got in. You know, everyone was saying that the performance was glowing, and, you know, she didn't have that. So, you know, these are just things, I guess, you know, we need to bear in mind. And I'm just getting a time limit message from Zoom here, so let me just be mindful of our time. All right, so let me just kind of move forward. What do you think, let me actually get to a much broader issue, because I really want to talk about, you know, mental health in the Black community. I sense that there is extreme skepticism around discussing mental health, or even people talking about getting mental health treatment of any kind. Do you all sense that same thing? And what do you think is the underpinnings of that? You know, why is that the case that in the Black community, we are very much averse to mental health discussions or mental health treatment compared to our non-Black counterparts?
Let me start off by saying, I think what white people do to racism, as far as does it exist, is what we do to mental health, saying that it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times we were taught that, you know, religion is going to help us. So a big part of us is still attached to our religion to help cure us, which is it was just a way to control us. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us don't even know how to identify if they have mental health issues. Like what we call, for example, a nervous breakdown, somebody might call popping off. I just popped off at somebody. So I think like our verbiage and how we describe things is really a mental health issue, but we really don't know how to say, oh crap, I'm having a panic attack. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Oh, okay, I can't focus. Oh, whatever. So I think a lot of times it is part unawareness. Mm-hmm. A part religion still plays a role, because just like how racism goes in, religion is still a part of us, and to unwind that and to unpack that, to like, okay, I need help, is something else. And I think also too, a lot of us still trying to get acceptance from our peers saying that this is okay to do. Right. So I think once you take that initiative, it's like, hey, I'm noticing something's not right. let me go seek somebody. So I think we're getting better, and I want to say it depends on your generation. I want to say millennials, shout out to me and JD being millennials.
I agree.
I think millennials are taking charge, and then Generation Z is just they just doing what they want. So I think more so it depends on which generation you're speaking to that is really addressing their mental health issues.
Okay, fair point.
As somebody who could be all you guys' parents, I'm gonna say I've seen changes. I've even seen how my own kids handle, if there's things going on, that they're not ashamed to go and get therapy or get help. But I think when I look back at other people as somebody who was born in Jamaica, came to the United States, have seen people struggle with various, and then from my time, even when as a kid growing up, somebody might be a little crazy and they think she's acting crazy. Yes, it could be bipolar. Yes, it could be somebody who's early on stage Alzheimer's at 50, and everybody look at the person as like, she went to the Obeah man or something like that happened, and they don't address it. And when you're having a problem, there's no support within the Black community, because if you're losing it or don't know how to handle it, who do you go to? Because they think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Your own family members are thinking you're crazy.
Right.
So where's the support system? And I love the fact that you guys are doing it and handling it and addressing it. And as Nina said, to be young, gifted, and Black.
Yes.
And it's a fact.
Right? Exactly.
So I just want to quickly.
Yes, go ahead, Fabian.
I don't think Yvonne could be my parent, but I guess I
well, we might be close.
I look good from the age.
We could be
So there is a shift, and I think that's very, very important.
Yes.
And I think you have to look at the history of distrust. Tuskegee and the stuff, all the stuff that's not documented.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Black people. So going to a doctor could kill you. And on the plantation, it was, if you complain, we're going to make the cure worse than the ailment.
Right.
In the history books, they didn't put 3/4 of the stuff that was done.
Yep.
Ancestors on plantations.
Right.
And it's in our skin, it's in our bellies.
Yep.
It's distrust, but also there's the whole thing of weakness, especially for men. Asking for help. And
yes.
I'm so glad there's beginning to be a shift. So some of the younger folks are actually schooling some of the older folks about self-care,
right?
About take a break, about allow yourself to feel the pain and cry, and
right.
There's a lot more Black people in therapy. And even with this what's happening now, a lot more parents and even Black men are talking to their sons about trauma and about racism and about our history and about taking care of yourself and not because we have trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma.
Yes.
That we have not addressed. So I think it's so important that we're having those conversations. And in terms of the performing arts and film, television, and music, I'm so glad we're beginning to see more inclusion in the storylines of mental health issues, of self-care. I have to call Ava DuVernay's name. God bless that woman.
Yep.
Bless her, bless her, bless her, bless her. The story she's telling, but also the way when she did When They See Us, she had counselors and therapists on set.
Right.
Because she knew
it was triggering.
She knew that these men, not only the 5 who survived, but the actors could not take this journey because their own stuff was going to come up.
Yep.
And I think that's also us taking care of ourselves, but also taking care of each other. And a really important thing is, as Black men, not passing on our trauma to Black women.
Yep.
And caring, and recognizing that all Black lives matter.
Yep.
Trans women are being killed all over, and we're not really talking about it.
Exactly.
And I don't want to monitor what women say. And Muslim women, I'm like, you are traumatizing your sister.
Exactly.
We have to start to recognize that and heal that, and if we're not in this collective thing of healing our pain and doing, how they used to leech and bloodlet and getting out of your system.
Right.
I people all the time, there's no accident why Black music sounds the way it does. We're wailing, we're moaning, we're shouting. That's why gospel music sounds the way it does. And even I always say there's sounds that only Black people can make.
Yep, exactly.
The wailing wailers,
yes.
they were wailing the inner city. So that's why our music,
right.
You hear them sing and it just stops you in
yes.
your And Nina was one of them.
Yes.
I have to go to a dinner.
Sometimes Aretha would start a song and I'm like, Sister Riri, if you start here, where else gonna go?
Yes, exactly.
There's a song where Aretha says 2 words. It brings. Drowning my own tears. The first 2 words she utters is it brings. But there's so much history and embedded. Fantasia has that now.
Right.
Fantasia opens her mouth, plantations come out,
Mm-hmm.
healing come out,
Right.
pain comes out. Fantasia is doing a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And what I love is that she's not ashamed in her concert to just drop some ancestral healing on you.
Yes.
She can't help it. She sings Lady Marmalade.
Right.
And you feel it coming out of her pores.
Absolutely.
Centuries of our trauma and pain.
Right.
And I think we have to find outlets like that and write it and tell it and hug it and cry it, and really heal and nurture and love on each other and ourselves and our children and our communities, so that we shed that baggage. Because if they think we're awesome and powerful now, when we start to show up healthy, and healed, and not fractured, and proud and black, they have not seen anything. Because if we've done and given the world what we've given them, broken.
Yes.
I was going to say something to you guys too. Neil, I don't know if you've seen an interview recently with the head of the Black Panther Party talking about inclusivity with the gay community.
No.
You need to check it out.
I will,
and
definitely.
Also look back at the time that Nina was in. You had James Baldwin. You had Hansberry. You had all these, of course, when her daughter talks about, her husband talks about Aretha and all those guys being able to sing and they're on TV. And can you imagine, here you are, a professional, trained, classically, great voice, everything going for you, but you don't measure up.
Right.
You'll never measure up because you're still carrying the black baggage with you.
Exactly.
Some of them passed, just like we have some white folks who've passed. Some of them passed and she refused to pass and she took the burn for us to be where we are now.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, our time is winding down and this discussion is so riveting. I definitely want to continue it, and there will be more of these sessions. We're going to have to wrap up, or Zoom is just going to automatically boot us all. But thank you to all the panelists and to Yvonne for participating in the discussion. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Keep doing
everyone,
what you're doing.
be safe, be well.
Hit me up on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll make sure that you all can stay connected, and I'll also be posting some resources. So, if you know of people who need assistance, are looking for free mental health counseling, etc., there are resources available out there, at a discount, whatever the case may be, some free resources. I'm going to be posting all of that in our Facebook group, Black Minds Thriving. Please encourage folks to sign up because I want this to really be a resource for folks that they can utilize to improve themselves, to maintain their mental health, and just be the best version of themselves. So happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much and have a fantastic weekend, okay?
Love and light. Love and light.
All right, everyone. Take care.
Blessings.
All right. Bye.